Hey everybody, Steven here playing Red Dead Online, and today we're going to be talking about an article that Polygon posted where they interviewed Katie Pika, who is the lead online production associate at Rockstar. And in the interview she talks about the Moonshiner role and where they were wanting to go with that. And actually I'm going to read one of the first quotes here. She says, "We knew the community was keen to own a property, so wanted to give them their first taste of that. A bar seemed like something we could have a lot of fun with and fit perfectly with the Moonshiner business vibe. We wanted to replicate aspects of the saloon gameplay from single player while adding new interactive features specifically for online." The writer talks about in the beginning also how GTA 5 online is kind of like this massive theme park, and Red Dead Online, kind of starting in that shadow, has had to find its own path, and it's more realistic compared to GTA 5, obviously. So within that, trying to find gameplay that matches that and that people will stick around for is very, very important. But looking to the future, one of the things that Katie talks about here is that they want to actually add more roles. And I know a lot of people have been speculating, all right, a naturalist role is one of the big things people have been talking about. I definitely think that's a lot of the stuff people are talking about has validity, so I definitely think that's going to be one of the next roles. But they do say that they're kind of in the beginning stages of that. So this is the quote here. She says, "There are a lot of additional roles we want to introduce which touch on features we haven't explored yet in Red Dead Online." And actually this one was from Tariq Hamid, associate online producer at Rockstar. "We are still very much in the formative stages of delivering an array of roles and gameplay types within those roles." The writer also says, in addition, previously introduced roles are still going to get upgrades and love from the devs. And then this is a quote from Pika again. She says, "We'd love to keep adding new collections and additional variety to collector gameplay, eventually adding the next step, which in the same way that the Moonshiner is the evolution of the trader," said Pika. "One idea we really wanted to explore is the idea of posse members each finding a distinctly different part of an item that when brought together forms the collectible you can log in your collection." Now, that's pretty interesting. I personally don't play with a posse much at all. If anything, I play with my son, but beyond that, I usually don't join posses. So I think certain things like this are definitely going to force me to try to do that more. But for the lone wolves that are out there, I'm wondering if they're going to have any different variety to that. And then it says property owners have more to look forward to as well. Some of the roles would let us introduce more feature-rich businesses and even communal spaces that players can gather and meet up socially, lone wolves and full posses, says Hamad. Maybe even let each player own a part of such a space. So I would be really, really curious to see what that actually is and where they're kind of going to go with this. I'm just trying to envision a space within this world where somebody could own a small part of it. I don't know what that would be, if it's part of a business strip, whatever it may be. So this is pretty fascinating here. And then the writer actually ends on this note here, which I want to talk about. It says, "The Moonshiners update is another layer on top of what was already a flourishing world. Red Dead Online's updates are rarely as monumentous as a new World of Warcraft expansion or comprehensive as a No Man's Sky complete revamp. Instead, they focus on honing a core experience of exploring the western frontier and telling your own cinematic story." And I think that's something that obviously we can see, right? The evolution of this has been interesting, where we have these new roles and then you can kind of play that role for a little bit and then you can jump to a different role. And I find myself doing that. Like, I'll get bored with the trader role, so then I'll start doing the Moonshiner role more, and then I'll get bored of that and then I'll go to the bounty hunter role. And then in between that, I'm actually doing a lot of the different collectible stuff when I need money. So with this, we're just seeing more and more added, and I think this is going to be a huge year for Red Dead Online and what they're going to bring to the table. Obviously, the addition of new roles, we're going to see new properties with this. I'm curious to see what those actually are going to be, but I think we're going to see a naturalist role. I think a lot of people have been asking, I've seen just in comments of other videos, like they want, I think one said they wanted like a horse tamer. It's one of the things I've noticed, certain aspects of the story mode being missing from here, and I think they're going to try to bridge that gap as much as they can, so that is a possibility. Like I said, beyond that though, just looking at what would they actually add in terms of a communal space where people may own portions of it. Now, I don't think that's something that's set in stone. They may start that and decide, hey, that's not really going to work, but that would be interesting to see, forcing players to kind of commune together that maybe necessarily wouldn't on this huge map here. So for those that have noticed the updates this past couple weeks, it has definitely been one of those things where they're just giving a little bit here and there. They're not big updates at all, like we've seen in the past. And I think we're going to kind of see that for the next couple weeks, and then hopefully we'll get an announcement on what the next role, or at least the next update, is going to be within the next, I would say, 3 to 6 weeks. We're going to see something. So in the meantime, these updates really just feel like a filler. They're just trying to like give us a little something so that we'll stay engaged, but beyond that, that's all they're really trying to do. They're not adding anything new. These are like discount things, like this week we get 40% off horses or saddles or anything like that, or you get roll XP. It seems like they're really just trying to almost get new players and give them incentives to play with this, where a lot of people are already established, so this really isn't doing too much for us. And I think that's because they're just setting up a bunch of new players for the announcement of a new update, a new role here. Like I said, I do think it'll be the naturalist role, but we'll actually see. And beyond that, maybe some new bounties. I think a lot of people are kind of getting bored. Personally, after I run through everything, like, I just don't hop back into the game as much, just because it seems like I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I take little breaks here and then I'll come back to the game. So new legendary bounties. I did see a video too they were talking about, and I think they will add this, which is legendary animals. So for the trader role, legendary animals that you can actually go hunt would be really, really cool. So certain things like that. But I want to hear from you guys too. What do you think they're going to add? What do you think some of the new roles are going to be with this? And what do you think they're going to try to really take Red Dead Online this year? So that is it. I will make sure this article is in the description. I want to hear from you guys on all of this as well. Let me know what you think. Like I said, let me know where you think they're actually going to be taking Red Dead Online this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all of my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.